Hi, I'm going to talk to you in this video about Softbox Honeycombs. The honeycomb on the Softbox works in much the same way as a honeycomb with any other kind of light modifier, such as a standard reflector or beauty dish. What it does is it controls the shape of the light and the direction in which the light travels. Now, just to clear up some terminology first, some people call them honeycombs, some people call them grids, some people call them egg crates. Any of those words will do, we know what they mean. In fact, the grid and the egg crate are American terms, and I'm not American, so I call them honeycombs. Right, we are photographing today my favourite model. Now, people always laugh at my model, but I love it a bit because she always keeps still, never argues, and most importantly, she never moves. Now, most photographers, when they give these demos, they tend to use a pretty girl because it gets people looking at the videos. I don't care about that. I want a model that will keep still so you can see the differences made by the lighting and not get confused by differences made by the model moving her face slightly. Okay, the lighting is from a single softbox. Here it is. That's the softbox. At the moment there's no honeycomb on it. Behind the softbox over here I have a large silk which is lighting the video. Now that is going to interfere to some extent with the lighting that you see in the video because it's contributing to the overall light. Therefore the results you see that I'm actually taking with my still camera are going to be very different. So just to avoid confusion, you need to know that. Camera's here, set up on the camera stand so that that is also in exactly the same position just as the model is for every shot. So what's our softbox honeycomb like? Well, there you go. One softbox honeycomb before I put it on the softbox. Now, some people ask, do they work? Do they do a good job? They do, provided that they're designed properly and made properly. Some of the very cheap ones you'll see sold online are just junk. What a softbox honeycomb needs to do is to control the spread of the light so that if you can imagine that I'm the light, and as the light turns away from the camera, you can see that the light is controlled. It can only go in straight lines, and the honeycomb directs that light in a straight line, and it only works if two things happen. Number one, if the holes, if you like, these little compartments are close enough together to do the job. You can see on a lot of the eBay ones that they're absolutely massive, they do nothing at all. And the other thing you need to know is that they need to be quite deep, because if they're only sort of ½ inch thick or 1 inch thick, they're not going to do the job. These are very, very thick indeed. I'll show you some detailed pictures of them, you can see what I mean. Right, the first job I think is to look at the lighting without a honeycomb in place. So we'll get rid of that. And here we are, we've got the softbox. It's pointing at the model. And what we're going to do now is just take a shot and see what we've got. This is a technical bit which I'm quite good at. I press the button, boom. And that's what we've got. You can see it on your screen now. The still camera is zoomed in quite tightly, so you're not seeing too much unwanted stuff in the background. What you can see, however, is the background, which is a wall, is lit, and light from the softbox has accidentally lit here, and because of that we've got light that we don't want. The model is actually quite close to the background, closer than I would normally put. That's the distance between the model, or Louisa, my model at any rate, and the background, just to make it hard for myself. It'd be easy if I gave myself more space, but I'm trying to demonstrate something here, so I'm making it difficult. So we've got spilled light going in the background. This lighting method, by the way, is known as short lighting. Short lighting is lighting that lights the short side or less visible side of the face, leaving the side most visible to the camera in darkness. Now what that does is it slims up the face, and adds character to it. I'm not saying you should do that, I'm simply demonstrating that technique in this part of the video. If you don't like the effect, you can always put a reflector there to fill it in a bit, but I'm going to take it away now because I'm just showing what we do with one light. Right, the job to do now is to fit the honeycomb to the softbox, and it's done with Velcro, so it's a very simple process. You can see the light is coming straight at the camera, and as I turn it away we get to the point where no light is reaching the lens, but it is illuminating our model. So we're going to take another picture of her and see what we get. The first thing to do is to measure the exposure, because I measured the exposure for the shot without it and it gave me f11. Now honeycomb stops light spreading and it also eats a certain amount of light, and I'm guessing here about 1 stop of light. I was on f11. We now see what we got. You take a meter reading pointing of course at the camera, because it's what the camera sees that matters, and we got f8, f8.1. So we set it to f8 and take a shot. Right, the one thing that jumps out and hits you now, looking at this shot on the screen, in fact I'm going to put both shots side by side, is that the one with the honeycomb on the softbox is much harsher. That's inevitable. You're always going to lose softness if you've got a honeycomb on. The answer, of course, well, there's several answers. You can use a bigger softbox, you can move it closer to overcome these problems or at least mitigate them. The other thing that you can do, of course, is to add a reflector just to push some light back onto the dark side of the face. Let's just do that to show you what it does. There you go. What we've got here is the white side of the reflector. Silver side would make it harsher, but I've got a white one handy, so we'll use that. I'll just take a quick shot to show you what we've got. Now, if we want to make the effect of the honeycomb even more dramatic, we can do that quite easily. All we have to do is to remove the outer diffuser from the softbox, because you can do that, at least you can with the Lencata ones. You can take away the outer diffuser, which means that the light from that diffuser, which normally spreads and sort of goes more that way, isn't there, so light comes in straighter lines. I'm not saying again that you should do it, all I'm saying is it's something you can try. Now, another situation where you would use a honeycomb in a people shot is as a hair light. Now what I'm going to have to do now is move my model a bit further away from the wall, just so there's room to get the softbox in place. Here we go, we've got the softbox with its honeycomb on out of shot. You can see it here in the video, but it's not going to be in the shot. It's angled downwards, and although it's pointing more or less towards the lens, if I've got it right, the angle is sufficient to stop flare from light hitting the lens. Let's take a shot of that, see what we've got. Now, of course, all we've got here is a hair light, and obviously you'd want some lighting on the front as well, but that's not what I'm dealing with here. What I'm going to do now is take the honeycomb off of the softbox, and you can see then why we put it on in the first place. And take a shot. And as you can see, we now have flare coming into the picture, i.e. we have light that isn't wanted